Hi guys. I've always wanted to make a video on nursing from a perspective of a guy. Well, a straight guy to be exact. All over YouTube we see memes and shorts of things you encounter in nursing in general, but there's a lack of videos describing the process of becoming a nurse and then becoming a proficient nurse. And I wanted to share my perspective on this. Now, this first episode will have to contain a lot of explaining who I am as a person. Only then you can see where I'm coming from, and you'll be able to decide which advices from me ring true for you and which advices you will take with a grain of salt. I live in Canada, Alberta. I work at the Royal Alexandra Hospital, which is the ninth biggest hospital in Canada by bed capacity. I graduated in 2014. I worked in medicine units for about 7 years, and then surgery units for 2 years, with that last year being my current job as an assistant head nurse, or AHN. For those who aren't familiar with that position, it's basically a charge nurse position. Most of the nursing units have 2 assistant head nurses that takes turns in being charge nurse each day. Nursing school was hell for me. There are many courses that I barely passed. Now, how and why did I go into nursing? When I was 18, after graduating high school, my parents told me to go into nursing. If I'm getting good grades in nursing, I can transfer into medicine and become a doctor. If not, that's okay, because nursing is one of the few professions that you get paid pretty darn well right out of the gate with only a bachelor's degree. And what were my reasons to go into nursing? I'll be as honest as possible. Take a look at this picture. This was me on my last year of high school, trying so hard to fit in, trying so hard to get attention, especially from women. There must be a lot of options for me in nursing. That sounds exciting. All the people who make fun of me for going to nursing? Ha! I happen to be very secure with my masculinity. Only true men can go into professions like this. That was my high school brain in a nutshell. Now, you guys see, the reason helping people wasn't even on the list. Am I ashamed? If you happen to feel the same way, should you be ashamed as well? I don't think so. Because a nursing job, by definition, helps people to get better. And you go ahead and ask the most hardcore nurses who seem really dedicated to helping people. Would you come to work for free? Because that would be the pinnacle of helping people. Yeah, I didn't think so. It's not shameful to admit the truth. I come to work, and the number one reason for coming to work for me is to earn money and make a living. Now, how did I get into nursing? I was very, very lucky. Back in 2010, the grades in high school needed to get into nursing was very low. I believe my total average was somewhere around in the mid 80s, with my English mark being 65. Now in 2023, I hear that the average grade needed to get into nursing is over 90%. That's absolutely bonkers. Nursing school was hell for me for 3 reasons. I'm going to explain reason number 1 here and the rest in the next video. Number 1, learning style was very arts orientated. What does that mean? Many of my courses were discussion based. I still have trauma from this acronym, CBL, context based learning. Many of my nursing courses were based on that. A very small group, like 8 to 12 students, sit with one teacher. Let's say that the topic of the day is diabetes. The teacher asks one student to go research hyperglycemia. The teacher asks another student to go research hypoglycemia. The other student to research diabetic foot ulcer, other student glaucoma. Then the students go home, they do their research, and the next day, each students take a turn teaching other students what they've learned. Blind leading the blind, with the teachers jumping in only from time to time. At the end of this quote-unquote teaching, the student is to ask 3 questions related to the topic they researched to the group, and thus a discussion begins. As you can see, the more talkative you are, the more grades you get. What does this mean? Kids who had family and friends in the healthcare field went to town on these discussions, with real-life examples that their relatives had. Me, with absolutely no one in healthcare in my family? What the hell do I know? You need to understand that nursing is very different than math and physics. Lots of men like me usually love using logic and reasoning to solve a problem which has one clear answer. In nursing, that all goes out the window. A given question has 200 right answers. Most of it really does sound like total bullshit, but if it works for that particular person or that patient, then it becomes a correct answer. Let me give you an example. Let's say a patient has terminal cancer. Family is around the bedside. Patient and family are interested but undecided about euthanasia or medical assisted dying. How would you go about advocating for your patient? Like, how the hell do you answer that? Wouldn't you rather just solve this equation instead? Like, I'm sure a single sentence pops into your head, which we are all scared to say out loud. What the hell am I supposed to do? This is your life. You talk it out with your family and decide for yourself. Shouldn't that be the answer? But in any case, you see how there's going to be 200 different answers that you can say that could be correct, right? Hand them a pamphlet detailing exactly what euthanasia is and how it's performed. Call the ethics team to come and have a discussion with the family. Get a pastor from the spiritual team to come and talk with them. Get the family out of the room and talk with the patient one-on-one. Get the patient's own perspective without any pressures from the family, etc., etc., etc. Hell, I could probably argue why it's a good idea to lie and pretend I had a close family member in the same situation as the patient. If I sell this story well enough, and the patient is able to make a satisfactory decision based on my made-up experience and says, "Thank you," from the bottom of her heart, holding onto my hand with tears rolling down her face as she passes away, who is going to tell me I did a bad thing? This is why nursing exams are very infuriating. For questions that can be answered in 200 ways, they give 4 multiple choices and asks you to pick the best answer. That's the problem. If you give enough reasons, if you twist logic enough, all 4 of the multiple choice questions can be the best answer. And that's why at a certain point I just give up on studying. What use is studying when test grade difference is so minuscule whether I do an all-nighter or not study at all? I know this problem in nursing isn't specific for men. All students have this issue, but nonetheless, this had to be mentioned. Please stay tuned. My next 2 reasons are specifically for men.